in the Blue Ridge Mountains, at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, or online at TomJohnsonCamping.com.
Motor Racing Network has always been your source for motorsports coverage when you couldn't be at the track. Now, MRN is even more accessible with the brand new MRN app, available on your iPhone or Android device right now. This free app delivers all the latest motorsports news and schedules, locates nearby MRN stations, streams your favorite programs, and lets you interact with the MRN team on social media. Search MRN in the App Store or on Google Play. It's the Motor Racing Network at your fingertips, and it's available right now.
From Knoxville to Eldora, California to Pennsylvania, and all points in between and beyond, this is Winged Nation, the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program. Now your hosts for Winged Nation, Kendra Jacobs and Ashley Stremme.
Hey, race fans, I know you're expecting a big burly guy with a big burly voice, but instead... Today, you get the all-girl power hour of racing results from around the country with me and my co-host, Ashley Stremme, doing double duty today.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean, you're like I see you have a coffee or something over here, right?
Yeah, I have energy drink, some water,
2 hours straight of dirt
no
talk
pee
news.
breaks.
Oh, yeah, that could be trouble after the drink there. But you get to do like a fun show today because
absolutely.
Huge weekend of racing.
Yeah, and you were there.
Oh gosh, it was like, I can't believe I have a voice after this past weekend. But yes, the 32nd annual Kings Royal at Eldora Speedway this weekend. Of course, the big news out of there, two big stories. Number one being the weather.
Yeah.
Insane night of racing Saturday night because of this huge storm that rolled in.
Did you get a nap?
I didn't.
Oh.
I know some people did sleep. I took that as the opportunity to go talk to some friends that I don't normally get a chance to chat with when they don't have to actually work on cars and be serious. You know, and I'm not going to lie. So halfway through the break, everyone's saying, man, it would be great if we could drink a couple beers. And it hit me like, I can,
absolutely.
Wait, why am I not drinking? This is so stupid. I could have a beer. I did have one beer and a couple Tim Tams from the KMR guys.
You drink some random shenanigans.
I'm telling you.
Ass crackers.
The ass crackers drink is an Eldora staple for us.
Okay.
But it's really, really good. I cannot release the necessary ingredients online.
It's a
I will.
secret.
I'll put it up on Twitter later, and everyone can get the ass crackers recipe on at Wing Nation. So that will come up later. But the other big story of the weekend is Shane Stewart and the Larson Marks racing team. Absolutely unbelievable performance from these guys. Shots, the undeniable favorite going into this, as he should be. 20 wins this season. Swept the weekend last time at Eldora. All eyes were on Donnie Schatz, and Shane Stewart and his team come in and sweep the second biggest weekend in all of sprint car racing. So kudos to them. We're going to talk to Shane Stewart, King Shane, in a little bit.
I love it. And his crown was on his little bitty
He
head.
puts his huge crown on, and you want to say, like, that's the coolest, but in a way, it's like, that is so ridiculous. Like, that, it just looks really stupid, but everybody wants that crown.
Absolutely.
You're like, you want
Gotta
it.
have it.
And they get to keep it. So we'll find out what
where
he's going to
hanging it
do
at.
with this crown. You know, I would guess little Miss Nixon might have something with that crown. So big weekend at Eldora. Like I said, we're going to talk to King Shane in a little bit. Some other results from the weekend are Balco Racing Wheels results. Knoxville Twin Features. Of course, everyone's watching Knoxville, what's going on there as the Knoxville Nationals creep up. Tim Kading wins feature number 1 and then gets disqualified for illegal mufflers. So big mistake there by that team. I don't think it was anything they were aware of, so they were just as shocked as everyone else.
Wow.
But
that's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, and a big change of events there for Brian Brown, who's had quite possibly, and I think he would agree with me, the worst season of his career ever this year. Someone who was so hot at the end of last year comes into 2015 and just cannot seem to hit on all cylinders.
Why does it always seem to transpire like that? You're really good one year, and the next year, I mean, every racer hits it. We're dealing with the same thing with Steve Francis in the late models. Like, has a great year. Next year, he hasn't won a race yet. You know, it just
really
seems like
crazy.
it's always that dynamic.
And it's not one of those things where people want to say, oh, they got, cocky or whatever. I don't think that happens
Right.
ever in racing. I don't think guys know how to lay back and just get lazy. I think they work hard and things just happen. Like Brownie's had the most freak accidents happen this year. Hurt his arm last week at Knoxville, comes back this week. He did get the win then because of Kading's disqualification. Not necessarily the way you want to win, but I
Win's a
think
win.
he even tweeted, a win is a win. Like at this point, I'll take it. And maybe that's what gets the monkey off his back. Maybe that win, no matter how they got it, will spur momentum going forward. You got to hope so for him. I mean, the biggest race of the year that he's finished second in so many times is 3 weeks away. Hopefully,
This will
that
get
will
it
get
going.
him. Yes. The second feature was won by Dusty Zomer, and the only driver to get top fives in both was Danny Lasowski. Running so well at Knoxville this year, doing really good. He and that Guy Forbrook team. And actually, Danny is the guest on Wing Nation on MAV TV on Saturday.
Oh, cool.
So everybody can tune into that to see how he thinks this year's going and how he thinks it will play out at the Knoxville Nationals in just 3 short weeks. Billy Alley, the 360 winner that night at the Knoxville Twin Features. No 305 that night. Pennsylvania, big weekend for our other guest on the show this weekend, Danny Dietrich. Goes out and wins Saturday at Lincoln Speedway from 12th. Huge win for him. The next day, he backs it up at Susquehanna and wins again. So the always, I was going to say loudmouth, but I think he'd appreciate that a little bit.
I think I'm going to dub him the Donald Trump of PA
that is
posse.
so perfect.
You know, like he's not afraid to throw it out there. Doesn't care what people think.
I think he would appreciate that because he's also the guy that's not going to apologize for it.
No, absolutely not.
He stirs it up.
It's his
Sometimes he
opinion.
doesn't mean it. He just wants to stir things up. Like he admits that. But he's never going to back down and apologize for it. So big weekend for Danny Dietrich. Friday at Williamsgrove, Stevie Smith wins over Greg Hodnett and Brian Monteith. Saturday, Port Royal, Greg Hodnett over Lance DeWeese and Lucas Wolf. The 3 winners that weekend were the 3 guys we're talking about are so strong in Pennsylvania this year. Dietrich, Hodnett, Stevie Smith.
Yes.
They're having fantastic seasons. Going into a huge weekend with the World of Outlaws this weekend. It'll be interesting to see what those 3 guys can get done. I think you throw in Brian Monteith in there.
Yeah.
Those are probably the 4 strongest guys in Pennsylvania this year as far as 410 racing goes. So big weekend for them trying to keep the Morgan Cup in Pennsylvania. I've got news for them. It's not going to happen. But you can try.
We've struggled with the Morgan Cup. I'm not going to lie.
It seems like Pennsylvania won everything until the Morgan Cup got
I
involved.
agree.
So going on, so Friday at Lernerville, Ed Lynch, the big winner, King of the West out in California. Kyle Hurst wins his 3rd consecutive King of the West Series race at Placerville. Shane Golobic, the big winner with Ocean Sprint Saturday night. And in ASCS action, Aaron Reitzel, go figure, wins the Friday night race at Electric City Speedway in Montana. So back to the Kings Royal weekend. Shane Stewart,
Shane, I
the
love it.
32nd, is on the air now, is waiting for us, and we will talk to King Shane when we come back.
I'm Kerry Madsen, and you're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
The American Sprint Car Series returns for its 24th year. Over 150 events across national and regional schedules, 56 cities, 16 states, and some of the sport's best like Herrera, Swindell, Haferteep, and Reitzel, along with the next generation of stars. See the full lineup of events at ASCSRacing.com. Get updates on Facebook and Twitter, and catch every Lucas Oil ASCS National Tour event live on RacingBoys.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
This is Winged Nation. Now your hosts, Kendra Jacobs and Ashley Stremme.
Hey, race fans, we promise you the best drivers across the country every week when we do this show, and this week is no exception. On the air now, King Shane, the 32nd. Shane Stewart, thank you for taking time out of your crazy week to come on the air with us. Or not.
And not.
It has been a crazy couple of days. I think I'm still trying to recoup and still fathom that we did win the King Royal. It's just it's been a whirlwind since that night day or whatever you want to call it. It's one of those wins that it's a huge win, and and I hated that I didn't really get to celebrate it with my guys because my guys are my family out on the road. And I think we got back to the trailer around 5 o'clock, and we literally high-fived each other and said, "Man, we're tired." But it was an awesome weekend for us. To go in there and to sweep the event just really says a lot about my guys and everybody at LMR.
Yeah, I mean, we could talk about Friday, but really Saturday's the night that everyone across the country is talking about, not only for the storms and the rain and how well Eldora did with the track surface then, but you came from 14th, which I believe is the farthest back a Kings Royal winner has ever come from to win this race. Can you walk us through the events from the start? I mean, you looked lightning fast from the beginning, but the cautions came out too that really benefited you. From the driver's seat, can you walk us through what you were thinking throughout that race?
Well, honestly, as stiff as our competition is these days, we as a team kind of looked at each other and said, what, a top 5 finish was going to be a great run for us. And, you just don't see a lot of cars coming from deep in the field other than the 15. He's done it a couple times this year. But, especially at Eldora, because our speeds are so big there and the way the track was, it wasn't all the way up against the fence. And it's a momentum place. So once we get strung out, it's typically hard to pass. But, we had a couple of really good restarts. I was able to get by 2 or 3 cars in a couple of corners. And once I got to 5th, I could see Donnie, and I could see Christopher. And of course, I was racing with Jason at the time and Darren Pittman. But Donnie, wasn't getting away from us. And I thought, what, if I could have another caution or maybe clear a couple of cars here, who knows, I might have a shot. But, you really don't have time to look at the scoreboard to see how many laps are left. And on the cautions, I was able to look at that and see and, tell myself, hey, look, I still have a legitimate shot at winning this race. And, of course, I get to Donnie, and I've been there many times this season, and I tell everybody Donnie has 2 gears, and he gets out there and sets his own pace, but when you pressure him, he seems to speed up a little bit. It's one of them things you have to do a sneak attack on him, and I felt like I showed him my nose too soon, and the lap that he kind of ran out of fuel, I thought he was going to go to the bottom of the racetrack to try to block me, and but when I did get to Donnie, I felt like I had a better car. And then, of course, he sputters and runs out of fuel, and then the caution comes out, and then they throw the red for fuel, and that was a big relief to me because I didn't know how much fuel we had. I knew we had a big tank on, but, you're still running around there full throttle for, 38 laps, and, those 410s drink a lot of gas. So, after the caution came out, it was a big relief for me because I knew my car was good. It was a single-file restart, and all I had to do was just kind of hit my marks, and it was just one of those crazy races that played out really well for us, and just couldn't be happier for everybody that's involved with Larson Marks Racing, and obviously really excited to be able to win that race with Kyle there. I hated it that Justin couldn't enjoy it with us, but every one of us on the team left him a really cool voicemail, and I know he respected that a lot.
That's awesome. I mean, you couldn't have won it in any other fashion. Coming from 14th, beating Donnie Schatz both nights. You had a crew chief swap a few months ago, and to come back and be this good halfway through the season with a new crew chief speaks miles, because a lot of people can't handle that transition as well as you have.
Well, I think a lot of the transition was just how hard Steve worked during the winter along with Scotty and Andrew. And, we made a chassis swap towards the end of last year with Cool Chassis. And that was kind of one of the things that I wanted to try last year. And when we did try it, we were pretty quick. And, I knew that this season we'd had, Steve and them took really good notes for the tracks that we ran at last year. And we were pretty competitive. There was a couple of nights that we struggled, but I felt like we learned something from that. And, coming into this year, if anybody would have said, you're going to be second in points behind Donnie Schatz, going into almost August now, I wouldn't have believed anybody if they'd have said that. So, with that said, I think that it's just been a lot of hard work from, the transition from Steve to Scotty. Steve, I think Scotty learned a lot from Steve, and hey, Scotty's done a fantastic job this whole summer. And, the best thing about my group of guys is they all get along really, really well. They're all pretty young. They're all around the same age, and they're married to each other. They live with each other in the hotel room and going up and down the road in the truck. And, I think that's a lot of it, is that we all get along. We have a good time away from the racetrack. And when we do get to the racetrack, we seem to be refreshed, and we seem to go into each night with a positive outlook. And so far, it's been working out really well for us.
Yeah, we actually talked about that driving home from the Kings Royal yesterday, and we said, each team kind of seems to have its own vibe and its own personality, and the Larson Marks team just has this happy vibe to it. Like, everyone's having fun and everyone's happy to be there, and it's really refreshing to be around a group of guys that is enjoying every moment out there and winning in the process. So really good to see. Shane, before we got you on air, we were talking about your win and this ridiculous but awesome crown to have. So you get to keep this crown. Where is the crown now?
It's actually just sitting on the trophy in my game room. I actually had to take both trophies home because the guys didn't have room for it in the truck, and I sent a picture to Justin, and those are actually really big trophies. And I'm like, man, I'm going to have to get a bigger house because I don't have room for these trophies. But it's just sitting in the game room hanging out. Obviously something that I will always cherish. There's a lot of good sprint car guys that never get to win a big race that have, successful careers. And, it's obviously something that you dream about growing up in the sport, and you see the icons that are on that trophy on the little plaque on the front of it. And, it's just one of the things you wake up the next morning and say, man, you know what, my name's going to go on that trophy. So, as a sprint car guy, that's all I've done is race sprint cars. To finally be able to win a big race is very special.
Absolutely. I mean, it just, I don't know. I can't wrap my arms around it, to be completely honest. It is the Kings Royal. It's $50,000. Now you're rolling into Pennsylvania, and Kendra knows I'm a little bit PA posse girl. I am. How?
What?
Sorry, born and raised. It's just in my blood.
Fair enough.
But going into Williams Grove this weekend, do you have any expectations? You do rather well in Pennsylvania. Is the Morgan Cup going to come home with you too?
Well, we sure would hope so. Obviously when you win races, it builds confidence within, your team, and who knows? I mean, the rivalry that we have with the PA drivers, slash fans, it's something that I've always enjoyed, because I think that, having rivalries in racing is special. And, everybody knows that when we roll into these tracks that they're going to give us fits. And, obviously this weekend is going to be no different. Lernerville tonight's not going to be any different. So we just got to try to be on our A game. And, going into Williams Grove, we have a new format, and it's going to be tough. I think you're going to see a lot of good cars in the B main. And, the way they line us up in our heats now with the split qualifying, the quick cars start third and not fourth. Sometimes that helps you, sometimes that doesn't. But that means you got good cars behind you that's going to be breathing down your neck trying to get through the invert. So who knows what's going to happen. But, we've had some decent finishes at Williams Grove, nothing in the top 5 yet. But I think if we get qualified, get started up towards the front, who knows what can happen. But I feel like we have a good shot at winning.
Well, not to put even more pressure on you, but the Knoxville National starts just 3 weeks from tomorrow, which is insane. That is a huge race. You've been so close to winning, and in the last couple years, you've brought an absolute racing superstar to the track with you out there in Jeff Gordon. He's obviously a supporter of yours with Kick It out there at Knoxville. And last week on the show, we unveiled your paint scheme for the Knoxville Nationals, which is Jeff's paint scheme from 1985 when he started racing sprint cars. What does that relationship with Jeff mean to you, and being able to honor a huge part of his racing career in his last full year of racing?
Yeah, really, really special to me. When Paul and I got hooked up with Kick It, honestly, I don't think anybody at Kick It or Jeff himself really knew like where it could go and where it was going to lead to in the last 4 or 5 years, and to see Jeff become more involved with the sprint car deal, to get really excited about coming to Knoxville and spending the week with us, means a lot to me. Obviously, being sponsored and having tickets on our sprint car means a lot to me, because I know the amount of work that goes into what you girls do for that week, and with the kickball game and the kart race, and it's just really, really special to be involved with it, and to be able to celebrate Jeff's last year racing with the first sprint car that he ever raced is special as well. And hopefully that yellow 16 ends up in victory lane on Saturday. But I can tell you we're gonna give it hell and give it a good shot at winning that race. And like you said, we've been knocking on the door, and it just hasn't played out well for us. But we've put ourselves in a position to run well the last couple of years, and we've had some part failures, and hopefully we can kind of put that out of our mind and go into that race, have 50 really strong laps, and put on a great show for all the great fans. And obviously it's going to be pretty special to be in the yellow 16. And we went and tested there a couple weeks ago, and we felt like the test went really well. So fingers crossed that we have a good Knoxville Nationals this year, and it would be a fairy tale ending if we could end up in victory lane on Saturday.
Without a doubt. And to do that Wednesday night, even on the prelim night with him, because he missed last year's prelim night, would be huge. And I know he would really appreciate it. He was actually one of the first people to tweet to you after you won the King's Royal. And I started thinking, I wonder if Shane's battery on his phone is even still. I mean, I can't imagine the texts and tweets and Facebook posts you've been getting in the past 3 days. It's been, the whole experience is pretty humbling, to be honest with you, because I've had, people that I don't know have tweeted to me and told me congratulations, or, you don't hear or see from a bunch of your friends that's kind of followed you throughout your career.
Mm-hmm.
They've texted me and each one of the texts and tweets and Facebook messages are all special, and I wish I could get back to everybody and tell each and every one of them thank you. But it's been a special couple days, and with our grueling schedule that we have, it's one of them things you have to celebrate it, but then you got to forget about it and kind of focus on the next race, and hopefully we can keep this momentum rolling into the month of money and have some strong finishers, and going to Knoxville, with a lot of good confidence, and who knows what can happen there, but. We're looking forward to it and excited for everybody on my team, and we'll see what happens. But I'm excited about the next couple weeks. Well, we're excited for you. It was a great event, and hearing the crowd when you passed shots was absolutely amazing. Huge crowd, by the way, still at 4:30 in the morning. Amazing. Craziness. We wish you the best of luck tonight at Lernerville in both features. Again, this weekend in Morgan Cup, make sure the posse does not get that trophy. And we will see you at Knoxville. Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate you guys having me on my phone. You guys do a great job every week, and look forward to seeing everybody. Thanks, Shane. And I think he just said thank you to all the people who've sent him texts without having to reply to everyone. So huge win for that team. And like he points out, and I think people forget already, this is their first full year of World of Outlaws competition. They're second in wins, second in points, win the second biggest race of the year. Huge, huge momentum going into the month of money for that team. And a good omen. Yes. With the yellow 16, that's so cool. It's got to be a good week out there. If not, it just won't feel right. No pressure, though. No pressure on them. Up next, we have the mouth of Pennsylvania. Danny Dietrich, the summer Double D Tour. I don't know if you've seen those T-shirts, but we'll talk to him about that in just a second.
Hi, this is Sam Haferteep. You're listening to Wing Nation on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Restore shine to your vehicle with great deals on Turtle Wax Spray Wax or Wash and Wax, $3.99 at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Clean, shine, and protect your vehicle with select Turtle Wax appearance products on sale for $3.99 each at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store. Better parts, better prices every day. Limit supply. See store for details. O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I'm NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon. Did you know that 43 children are diagnosed with cancer each and every day? That more children die from cancer than any other disease? Athletes of all ages are dedicating their stats to change these stats, and you can too. Visit JeffGordonChildren'sFoundation.org to become a Kick It champion. No matter what your sport, you can use your points, laps, or goals to change the odds for kids with cancer. Make your stats really count. Become a Kick It champion.
This is Winged Nation. Now your hosts, Kendra Jacobs and Ashley Stremme.
Welcome back. I wish you guys could hear what we talk about sometimes on the breaks, but we're lucky that you don't.
Kendra's getting dirty.
Yeah. Anyone who knows me, that's not a surprise. It's really not a surprise. And speaking of dirty, we've got Dirty Danny Dietrich on the air now.
Triple D.
Yeah. And I wouldn't normally call you that, but your tour, Double D Tour t-shirts were epic. Love those. Who came up with that?
It was a little bit of my idea.
I'm not surprised.
Just something to promote something and just have a little fun with t-shirts.
Well, it was fun. Did you sell out already?
We sold out once, had to reorder.
Oh my gosh.
They went out. They went real well. We're running out of them now. We're just doing a limited supply of them again.
Limited supply.
Yeah, it just kind of neat just to see everybody's reaction to something so different, from everybody else's shirts.
Well, no pun intended, but it sounds like your cup is overflowing.
A little bit.
Yeah, your Double D cups out there. So Ashley and I want these shirts though. Are we going to be able to get online and order, or do we have to go to Knoxville to get these?
I have them on our website, DannyDietrich.com.
There you go.
I'll have them out in Knoxville, limited supply, I think, but just won't have many left probably by the time we get to there. I don't think we're doing a special shirt for out there. I think what we got is what we're going to have. Just back home here, everybody's buying shirts and pretty much, I think, done for the year. National Open's pretty much our biggest kicker at the end of the year, and that's about it.
Well, I would double up on that special order.
I just got to figure out how to get you girls in them when we go to Knoxville.
Oh, not a problem. Not a problem. But, we just talked about some opportunities for too tight see-through T-shirts, so we'll get with you off air.
There you go.
Yeah. So we don't mean to be offensive when we call you the mouth from PA, but I think that's kind of a title that you're enjoying now. And you've said to us before, you don't always mean everything you say, but you like being the guy that kind of stirs the pot and getting the fans into it. So give us your best going into the Morgan Cup this weekend.
We haven't been very fast at the Grove lately. Stevie's the guy I guess we're all relying on, Stevie and Greg. I hope we can pick up some speed here soon, but, it seems like we've been fast just about everywhere else we go except for Williams Grove. So we're trying some things tonight at Lernerville. We're getting ready to load up now and going to try some stuff tonight to hopefully we can get this car we've been running to Grove rolling a little bit better before the weekend comes up.
Well, you've definitely got it figured out at Susquehanna. You've won every single 410 show there's been there so far. And I've got to mention your brother Billy is also killing it at Dog Hollow with the 3 wins that they've had there at Dog Hollow. What's going on with the Dietrichs with Susquehanna and Dog Hollow?
I don't know. I just like Susquehanna. You can run real hard there. We got a car that's pretty good, too. I got to give some credit to Jake, the crew chief on this thing. He's got a real good car there. And Bill out at Dog Hollow, they've had 3 races in 4 years. He's won all 3 of them. And I think same deal. He's got that place figured out. Just he's got a good setup and probably suits our driving styles, these racetracks. That's probably most of it, just like some drivers did, race better at other tracks in the country. So, just something that fits us well.
You'd mentioned you're going to Lernerville tonight. That, of course, is the Don Martin Classic, double features. Can you go into a night with double features with kind of a strategy or plan in play? I mean, is there honestly, you want to win both, of course. But is there like an ultimate, like if we finish in the top 10 here, that puts us here, and that's kind of the best for both worlds?
Yes and no. I mean, you go to the Don Martin, and for the second feature, they invert everybody on the lead lap. So if you're really not really running top 10, you kind of just try and go as slow as you can to get in the last car in the lead lap without being lapped. So there's a little bit of a game going on last year. We were running, I think, 10th, and we had a tire seal over, and I told the crew chief I'm just going to try and just not get lapped, and some cars went by me that I couldn't get a couple cars to pass me, just I think because we had a couple cautions with about 5 to go, and they didn't want to have to. They wanted a front row spot for the next feature too. So it's it's a little bit of a game, but you definitely don't want to get caught sleeping too much. If you get lapped, then you don't get to start up front in the next feature.
Talking about these double features, Shane talked about it a little bit. The new format for Williams Grove this weekend. What are your thoughts, Donald Trump?
I haven't even thought about that. We've been pretty fast at time trials over there, so I'm hoping whatever group we're in, we can be in the top, I guess 3 in each group or whatever it's going to be. I'm not sure, but we've been fast in time trials and fast in the heat races and qualifying. We just need to get faster in the A main. So hopefully we'll be okay and we can keep timing like we have and get ourselves in the A, and then we can get this Maxim car running pretty good here later in the evening here at Grove.
The Pennsylvania Posse drivers take a lot of heat. A lot from yours truly, because and really, I'm just going to set the record straight here. It's not the drivers that drive me crazy; it's the fans that drive me crazy. Because you would think that you guys have won every race under the sun since the time of racing began. But anyway, I digress.
They're just diehard, Kendra.
My goodness, they're diehard with their mouths and their keyboards.
Hey, if you can't win it, you gotta
at least look good.
That's right.
I'm telling you, they do a great job on social media defending you guys. I will give them that. But you guys take a lot of heat for quote unquote not leaving the porch. And Pennsylvania seems to be the only group of guys that get that complaint all the time. But you and your team don't really live by that. You've done the Ohio Speed Week tour. You did it again this year. You guys go out to Knoxville. What is it with you guys that you feel like not staying at home is what's best for you, or going to this big races benefits your team more?
We just get I like getting out of the funk. You stay in Pennsylvania, you get in the funk. You can ask other drivers about it. Once you just get settled in, you get settled in. So you kind of got to, so to say, get off the porch just to keep yourself in check. What I like to say. Other than that, we're going out to Lernerville tonight, and I heard a couple people say we're going to protect the porch, which I think we go there once a year if I remember correctly, but I'm not sure, but those comments come from people out of this area, so no matter what, Pennsylvania, I guess, is always going to be known for having a porch, no matter how you look at it. And eventually I'm sure going to Knoxville will be part of it. It's just a matter of time until that's included. So we just like getting away. Just see something new and see new racetracks. If ain't new racetracks we only see once or twice a year, just to maybe get out of the area and just do something different.
In the defense of protecting the porch, they always say to be the best, you have to race with the best. And right. I am going to protect my porch of PA land. But ultimately, it's cool that you do go out to get and, race with the World of Outlaws and at Knoxville and get that. But, we have such a hardcore, like you were saying, Stevie Smith, all those big names that have traveled with the tour but still rest in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Greg's good because, in my opinion, he's seen it all. Same with Stevie. Even Lance. All these guys are just so good. Lucas is really good. And some of that I'm sure you can chalk up to seeing all kinds of different tracks and having the experience of being on the road and adjusting to different situations on the racetrack, whether it's wet or, dry or dirty. But the more you can race, the better you're going to be.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I think, too, when you see all these different tracks and get used to different tracks and different styles and racing against guys you don't normally race against, all that does is improve you. And Danny, to be honest, I think you've earned a ton of respect from people outside of Pennsylvania for your willingness to go out there and do that. So from someone who's not a posse member, thank you for doing that. and for being an outspoken member, because you really get involved in, and I hate to use the word politics of the sport, but you're very open-minded and opinionated about the different rule changes in the sport. There's been some talk lately about tire doping. That seems to be the number one topic right now as far as the politics of the sport go. What is your opinion? I've heard everything from, well, everyone does it, to, well, it's about time they crack down on it. What's your opinion on the latest with Knoxville starting to test tires for tire doping?
I think it's good. I think there's a lot of question out there, with some cars doing it. And anytime there's more teching, it's a positive. Pennsylvania, to be real honest, it lacks teching. It's bad. Anybody comes and runs in here. If somebody came from Knoxville and came in here and ran for about a month, they'd probably shake their heads. Not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, but I think there are. But there's just a lack of, in general, every track we go to, there's a lack of teching here in Pennsylvania.
To piggyback off of, different testing, driver drug testing. That's been another one that's been thrown out there several times.
Yeah, that'd be tough to do. We'd have to have an organization kind of like Australia does with Speedway, and I don't see that happening anytime soon. So it's hard to say there.
Don't you love when we just put you on the spot with the biggest topics in the sport?
Don't bother me.
Yeah, see, and that's why we love you. That's why we say. So going into this weekend, obviously Donnie Schatz is the biggest one with the target on his back from the World of Outlaws side. Who do you think, you've kind of mentioned Stevie and Greg being so good at the Grove. Who else from the Outlaws do you think, if you had to say a top 10 on Saturday night in the Morgan Cup, who do you think is going to be up there this weekend?
Hard to say. Shane's been fast. We got a little thing here in our shop where it's, okay, Donnie was first, Shane was second, who's third? Before we even know results. So it just seems like how it's been. I guess it's opening up to whoever. It's just going to depend on who's time trialing good. Sandy's fast, Paul's fast, Joey's fast. They're all fast. Just a matter of, can you go out early enough in time trials and put down a good lap, or can you go out late and set yourself up on the front row of a heat? So it's a little bit of everything, I think. Yeah, it's hard to say going into Williams Grove just to help.
And this new format is going to be tricky with dividing qualifying up. You're going to have a stout B main on Friday and Saturday night out there.
Yeah, I think that's the case just about any outlaw show you go to. I mean, look, wait until you see tonight's. I'm sure it's going to be pretty stout too. So we'll take tonight, see if we can build with this new car, and we'll go into the weekend, and hopefully we're part of that Morgan Cup.
So did you just say you have a new car?
Is
tonight a brand new car?
No, it's just newer to us. We've run it, I'd say, a dozen times, and we were fast right off the bat. We had a little bit of trouble, and hopefully we've got them worked out. We'll find out tonight.
Hey, real quick, I want you to throw a little shout out to your crew and those guys, because I know how fun they keep everything.
Yeah, Jake and Chuck and Tyler, Jason, they really work hard, and Gary really supports us a lot. So without them guys, we've been running so hard. We took yesterday off just because we're getting wore out. So we busted our butt here this morning to get ready, but that's part of it. You gotta take a day off every now and then. I think tonight makes race number 49 on the season, which I'm not sure what everybody else does, but it's a lot for us. So.
Well, you forgot your biggest crew member, Anthony Carini.
Oh yeah, Anthony. I think he'll be at Lernerville tonight. We got a full truck here tonight, so he's not riding with us, but he was enjoyable going with us out to Ohio Speed Week, and having him along was just a blast.
Well, I know he appreciated it. He's actually the one who nominated you for Kick It Driver of the Week last week, which you won. Awesome thing you did, taking him with you. And Danny, we wish you the best of luck tonight. And on Friday and Saturday, I hope you finish second. That would be great.
Oh, go Posse.
I'm teasing. You're one of my favorites, and I love talking to you during the week on text message. You always keep things fun. Good luck to you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in 3 weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
I love it.
And I love that he is one of those drivers we can put on the spot with major questions in the sport. Like he said, I like it. Bring it on, because he doesn't shy away from big topics. Yeah. So kudos to Danny Dietrich for not always being PC and giving us a driver's perspective to really think about things.
Well, he says things that people are thinking, but no one else has the guts to say it.
Right, and Danny he definitely has the guts. Let me tell you, when you see those T-shirts, you will understand what we're saying. Up next, we have the guy who also has the guts to call it like it is. Mm-hmm. Does the yearly Knoxville Nationals prediction in Sprint Car and Midget Magazine every year. We will talk to Bruce Ellis, the true mouth of Pennsylvania, when we come back.
This is Paul McMahon, and you're listening to Steve Post and Kendra Jacobs on Wing Nation.
The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville, Iowa. Your destination for sprint car history. Check out the Salute to Champion Doug Wolfgang exhibit, featuring 5 of Doug's sprint cars, all 5 of his winning Knoxville Nationals trophies, as well as helmets, uniforms, and other Wolfgang memorabilia. Also, check out Damian Gardner's world's fastest sprint car that the Demon drove at 211 miles per hour at Bonneville. Open 7 days a week all year in the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville, Iowa. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum.
Racers, that's who Valco wheels are.
That's who they know, and racing is what they know. Valco Wheels focuses oval track and grassroots racing, and understand racers need a quality wheel that fits your budget. With over 25 years experience, Valco Wheels produces the best product and give you face-to-face support and customer service at the track. Fast delivery, innovative products, problem solving. Find Valco Wheels at Valco.com on Twitter or Facebook, or call Valco Wheels at 609-758-7013. Valco Wheels.
This is Winged Nation. Now your hosts, Kendra Jacobs and Ashley Stremme.
Welcome back. We've had an awesome show today talking about two of the biggest names in sprint car racing going into this week. King Shane, the 32nd, started us off, and then we went to Danny Dietrich, who we jokingly called the mouth of Pennsylvania. Now we're talking to the true mouth of Pennsylvania, the guy everyone hears and listens to at Williams Grove Speedway. Bruce Ellis, thank you for joining us on what's about to be a very big week over there.
Hey, Kendra, thanks for having me.
Tell us about this huge week, the Morgan Cup, heading south to North Carolina, hopefully on Sunday morning.
No.
But you talk to us about what you see and predict happening this weekend.
Well, the Morgan Cup has really been the personal property of the Outlaws ever since it has been instituted. So they probably are favored coming in. At least one of them has to be. I think Donnie Schatz obviously has been as awesome at Williams Grove as he's been at Knoxville over the years. So I think he has to come in as the odds-on favorite. But if anybody's going to keep that thing in Pennsylvania, it's got to be the bandit, Stevie Smith. He has really been on a roll. He is really fast right now. And if anybody can beat Donnie Schatz, it would be Stevie Smith.
I have to agree 100%. I think he's picked up 3 wins here in just the last few weeks. Bruce, you're a wealth of knowledge in all your years of everything that you've covered. You've recently made it into the Sprint Car Hall of Fame. Explain to us what that means to you and what you've accomplished.
Well, as far as the Hall of Fame is concerned, that is simply the greatest honor that I could ever receive as a media person. Something that seemed unattainable when I first started out in this business, to get that kind of recognition. It's really a tremendous honor, and there's so many people I need to thank, like Dick Berggren, who allowed me to have a stage for a national audience, and Doug Auld, who continued that, and of course the people at Williams Grove who have had me there for so very long. So it's just really a fantastic honor for me.
When you were at that event, people don't realize that at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame induction ceremony, there's so many great stories told. I mean, stories that might have never been told before, and then you guys get together and it just kind of spills out. In that process, did you hear anything that you were like, man, I wish I'd known about that and did a good story on it?
I don't know if I'd wished I'd done any stories, but the night before the induction banquet, they have something for people who are already in the Hall of Fame, and it's kind of a panel discussion led by Lynn Paxton, and I can assure you there were some amazing stories that night. Paxton and Steve Stapp and Gene Lynch and so many others were telling some great stories that night.
Yeah, it's an amazing event. I had the privilege of going there a few years ago, and hearing the old stories is just great.
I can't imagine. It's just a lot of blah, 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 blah.
It's fun.
Speaking of memories, Bruce, how long have you actually been at Williams Grove now?
Oh, let me think about that. I started as the publicity director at Williams Grove in 1982, and I started as announcer at the 1987 National Open. That was the first race that I ever did, the 87 National Open.
I love it. So in all those years and everything you've done, what would you tag as your most memorable moment personally?
Without a doubt, Fred Raymer's winning the National Open in 2013.
Oh, that's a good one.
Fred had won so many regular shows and so many semi-specials, I guess you'd say, but never one of Sprint Car Racing's major events. And he had announced his retirement, of course, at season's end. And for him to win the National Open before such a great crowd that night, it just reminded me of the first time that the late Dale Earnhardt won at Daytona, the show of respect for him as he came into the pit area that night with all of the teams, and the fans just mobbed the front stretch that night. It was certainly an unforgettable moment and a deserving accomplishment for Fred Raymer, who had done it all to that point except win a big one.
Well, and speaking of Fred Raymer and doing it all, now we're seeing this whole other side of him with his promotions that have been a wild success. You know, he's also not afraid to get on the mic and stir some things up. And we kind of teased him a couple weeks ago on the show that he's like the current day Bob Weichert, trying to get on there and get the fans riled up. What do you think of what Fred's doing now, and what is he doing that's influencing Pennsylvania racing?
Well, he has shaken things up from a promotional standpoint, that's for sure. Fred was the biggest complainer, and he'll be the first to admit that. Promoters don't promote, he would say, and he would go on and talk about things that should be done. And now he got his chance, and he said his back is to the wall. He's got to produce because of all the things that he'd said when he was a racer. So he's got to do some things and really shake up all the promoters in Pennsylvania. And he has come up with some great ideas. And, of course, he's got that Legends race coming up, the Lincoln Speedway in August, and he's bringing some great names out of retirement for that. And it should be interesting to see some men between the ages of 60 and 70 competing in 410 sprint cars again. And you know the racers they are, Kendra and Ashley, they're going to compete. They're not just going to drive around.
Oh, yeah. I predict Doug Wolfgang is going to put on a good show there.
I know he will. He's still in great condition, and I'm sure he'll be tough. But I'm wondering if Kenny Jacobs has been invited yet.
So this is the deal. Fred won't let him race.
What?
Why?
Because Dad's currently racing.
Oh, okay.
So my question is, if Dad quits racing for 2 weeks before the event, can that be count as another retirement and he can come on board?
I think so.
I think so, too. I think we should petition. If he quits 2 weeks before the race, we'll call it another retirement. And I'm using air quotes because I tease my dad about that all the time. And he can go run that race.
I think he should do that.
Yeah, I would love it. Hey, when we're talking about predictions, I was just filling Ashley in on this awesome article you write every year in Sprint Car and Midget magazine about your Knoxville Nationals predictions. And this is a lot harder to do than what people think. But talk to us about this year. Give us a sneak peek of who you're picking, who some of the dark horses are, and what goes into making these picks every year.
Well, it is a lot of work because I really don't just sit down and say, I think this guy should be in the top 10. I do a lot of research on it, research from what they've done in the past at the Nationals and also what kind of year they're having, and take a lot of things into account as far as that goes. Who they're racing against is one thing that matters. But, when it comes down to it, Donnie Schatz just has to be the favorite. I mean, he has had such a tremendous record at Knoxville over the last 10 years. He's got to be in a class by himself. But after that, the next group that I think that can win the Nationals, as far as the Outlaws are concerned, Kerry Madsen. He's been at Knoxville several times this season. His shop is just up the road from there. He knows how to win big races, as he proved at Eldora. So I think he has a shot. And Shane Stewart had him predicted as one of the contenders before he won the King's Royal, so that only solidifies his status. But after that, I think you've got to go to the Knoxville regulars. Danny Lasowski's having a great year, not only at Knoxville, but with the National Sprint League also. And I think he can do it, even at age 56. He's back with Guy Forbrook. Again, Guy's never won the Nationals, and I know a lot of people would like to see him do it. So that certainly is a possibility there. And Justin Henderson, if you want a dark horse, he has been really fast at Knoxville all year. Guy's in the prime of his career at age 35 or 36 right now, and I think he's a threat. So, and of course, we can't forget about Brian Brown. Not having a real good year, but certainly he's been so close the last 3 years at the Nationals, you can't rule him out. But they would be my choices to run near the front at Knoxville this year.
Well, I was just going to say it's interesting that Brian Brown wasn't mentioned because I think that's kind of universal this year, is that he's having such a bad season, and a lot of it being bad luck, nothing he's doing. But it's really interesting that a guy who's been so close to winning it the past few years isn't really being mentioned as an even contender this season.
Oh, I had him with my after shots, my contenders or whatever I called them. I had him as one of those 5.
Well, that's good, and I'm sure he's relieved because right now in his head he's probably like, I don't even know if I think I am.
Well, he just won last week, so maybe that'll be a little bit of a confidence builder.
That's what we were saying.
That gives you a couple more ticks along with it, too. I know that when the posse goes out there, they're not necessarily chosen to win, and we know that. Knoxville's a difficult place. Who are your top PA members? Me being a PA posse girl, I've got to just know who your top picks are for that.
Well, certainly Stevie Smith, who's had a lot of success at Knoxville over the years. And it was just a few years ago when he was on the podium, so we know he can do it. And he is on a roll right now. If he can continue that for the next couple of weeks, and I think that's important. I think that's important from a confidence factor. And Stevie's got to be brimming with confidence with that team he's with right now. So I think he has a shot. If anybody from Pennsylvania can do it, it probably would be Stevie. And Greg Hodnett has also had great success at Knoxville. Hasn't been as fast right now as he was earlier in the season, but I think anything can happen with him, too. He's a very good racer, and it's a great team. And I think Stevie and Hodnett would be the two Pennsylvanians that might get something done at Knoxville this year.
Well, going into this weekend, Bruce, I'm just going to say I'm Team Outlaw, obviously. I give all the PA Posse guys crap. And again, I say it's not the drivers, it's the fans that get on my nerves, but God bless them for being so passionate. From your standpoint, Williams Grove has become famous for not only the racing, the history, but the fans as well. And the Beer Hill Gang is just this huge, passionate group of race fans over there off Turn 3. What are your feelings towards the fans and their support over in PA?
Well, I think we have the greatest fans in the world as far as sprint car racing is concerned. There's no doubt about that. How they can keep so many tracks going. Port Royal and Lincoln, an example, on a Saturday night. Those tracks, less than 2 hours apart, I guess?
Yes.
And, they've been going so long on Saturday night, and the fans just keep them going. And, we have some midweek races here, and then, we start so early in the year and race so late in the year, and the fans are always there to support us. So it's a great group. And, you mentioned the Beer Hill Gang. They do a lot for racing other than just attend the races, too. They do so many things to help the racers. So Beer Hill Gang deserves a lot of credit. They're on several wings here in Pennsylvania as sponsors, and it's really good. I don't know if we can call them an organization, but just a really
I find that they probably don't want to be an organization.
No.
That might require some corporate
Political.
stuff. Yeah, no, they don't want that. But thank you, Bruce, for coming on. Always looking forward to reading your predictions. That's one of my favorite articles of the year. I like making notes on if I agree with you or not. Most of the time I do. And we have a poll now on MRN.com that lists out what several media members think will be the finishing order of the Knoxville Nationals. And honestly, your top 5 is the exact same as what media is saying across the country. So right on par with you. Great minds think alike. Good luck to you this weekend. Good luck to the Pennsylvania Posse taking on Donnie Schatz and the rest of the Outlaws. And we look forward to seeing you out at Knoxville this year.
Look for you, Kendra, and thanks again for having me on.
Thank you for making the time for us. We appreciate it.
Have a good one.
That's Bruce Ellis. He's such an amazing person.
Yes.
And people, I think, take for granted hearing him on the mic out there in Pennsylvania. And your question about his history and when he started is just spot on to point out how great of an asset he is to Pennsylvania.
Well, it's funny, just a real quick story. When I was a little girl, we were always in the pits, and we would go to Williams Grove to watch. We wouldn't race there. And I remember hearing him as a little girl, and we went to some other track, and I was like, is the guy sick? Because this is...
no.
And I didn't I thought that he, was at every track. And so I was like, this guy's terrible. Where's the other guy? And all along, it was Bruce. So...
Yeah, he's fantastic. We're going to go to a break. When we get back, we'll go through the birthdays across the country this week in sprint car racing, as well as the Hefner Racing Products races coming up this weekend.
This is Tony Stewart. Kendra and Steve will be right back with more Wing Nation here on MotorRacingNetwork.com.
Enter O'Reilly Auto Parts' $10,000 payment payoff sweepstakes powered by Castrol Edge, and you could win $10,000 toward paying off your vehicle. Plus, weekly winners will receive $500 Visa gift cards. Visit O'ReillySweeps.com for official rules. No purchase necessary. Sweepstakes ends August 25th. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The new standard in race car screen printing and embroidery, Classic Ink USA. Full custom race car track swag apparel, quality customer service, and the industry's finest graphic designers, assuring quick turnaround and the highest customer satisfaction. See the latest designs at ClassicInkUSA.com, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, or call us 724-482-6224. Serving racers and their teams, all divisions, all over the world. Classic Ink USA, at the track and on your back.
This is Winged Nation. Now your hosts, Kendra Jacobs and Ashley Stremme.
If you are watching online today, you see us a mad dash to go through our notes here. Let me just say, Steve Post, we miss you.
Kendra has 17 pieces of paper here.
I'm a tree killer. No, Steve makes this look so flawless. Let me tell you, folks, it is not flawless. Before we get up with the races coming up this weekend, want to go through announce this week's Kick It Driver of the Week. We always love it when fans take the time to send us notes and the reasons why someone has changed their life. This week we got a note from Brandon Anderson on our Wing Nation Facebook page, facebook.com/Wing Nation. He mentions his friend, Jeff Cooley. He's a photographer, and Jeff's dad unfortunately passed away on Father's Day weekend. It was really, really unfortunate for that family and very sad. But he mentions his friend Kyle, and I'm trying to find Kyle's last name on this email. But he talks about Kyle being a mini sprint racer from Red Cloud, Nebraska. Kyle went out of his way to help the family out, hosted a race with funds going to that. So, Kyle, you are a Kick It Driver of the Week this week. We'll make sure we get our sticker to you. Lots to go over here, so I'm just going to try to do this quickly because we just talked too much.
Don't breathe.
This weekend, of course, big races for Pennsylvania in the World of Outlaws with the Don Martin Classic tonight at Lernerville, the Morgan Cup Friday and Saturday at Williams Grove, Sunday at Lebanon Valley. It's also a huge week of racing for the NSL. It's Fair Week, I guess, so lots of big races there. Yes, go to the National Sprint League website and check out all the races they've got going on this weekend. The All-Star Circuit of Champions in Hartford, Michigan on Saturday. ASCS got a lot of racing going on. Of course, their regional series with a lot of racing as well. And I'll be remiss if we don't mention a special birthday from the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame this week. We go through birthdays every weekend. Today is the legendary Shane Carson's birthday. Shane, you're always a big supporter of ours, always a big supporter of sprint car racing. So happy birthday to you. Ashley, thank you for joining us today.
Absolutely.
The hour goes by so fast.
It does.
I always thought it was Steve. Now I just think it's just a quick
when you
hour.
talk about what you love, it's easy.
Yes, thank you to the race fans for joining us. To King Shane the 32nd for joining us today. Danny Dietrich as he loads up for Lernerville. And, of course, the legendary Bruce Ellis. Thank you again. We'll see you next Tuesday.
You've been listening to the nation's premier winged sprint car radio program, Winged Nation. Tune in next Tuesday at noon for more talk from the dirt tracks. Winged Nation is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center or download from iTunes or Stitcher. Winged Nation is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.
I love getting